Okay, did you start it yet?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, okay. So here's the book. It's called I Hate English. And one of the reasons I wanted to choose this book is because of the fact that I teach all ESL students. And I know that a lot of ESL students really hate English. They hate learning it, they hate speaking it, they hate trying to read it. Okay. Why do you think the author, the person who wrote this book, why would he write a book like this? Why would he write a book called I Hate English?
Because for the question.
Somebody raised their hand and give it, yes. Right, but why would that be, Fabrice?
Maybe he was once good enough.
Okay, maybe he had an experience where he had to learn English. David?
Maybe he hates English.
Maybe he hates English. Okay, Mohammed.
Maybe he want to tell other people who don't know English.
Say that again.
He can tell other people who hate English that they can do it.
Okay, maybe he wants to inspire other people who don't like English or they're learning English. Okay, these are all some good answers. Let's start. Like I said, I won't get through all of it, but we're going to start. I hate English, Mei Mei said in her head, in Chinese, because she speaks Chinese. Mei Mei was smart in school, in her school in Hong Kong, in Chinese. How many of you felt really comfortable when you were in school in your country? Yeah, you felt like, hey man, I know what's going on, I understand the language. But her family moved to New York. She didn't know why. She didn't want to move. And she said all that in Chinese. What language do you usually speak when you're talking in your head? Do you know what I'm saying when you're talking in your head? What yeah, you use your own, right? I don't normally, I speak other languages, but I don't normally speak those languages in my head. I'm usually speaking English, right? Because that's my first language. Chinatown in New York was okay. People looked like people she knew, and people talked like people she knew. Some of you might have that if you live in like a neighborhood where a lot of people are from your area, your country. Just makes you comfortable. Yeah, they all talk my language. That makes sense to me. In New York, in school, everything happened in English. Such a lonely language. Each letter stands alone and makes its own noise. Not like Chinese. Sometimes English letters fight with each other. We will go on a class trip, the teacher said in English. T-R-I-P, thought Mei Mei. The letters T and R bang against each other and keep its own sound, not like Chinese. Mei Mei loved Chinese, especially writing. Fast strokes and short strokes and long strokes. The brush, the pen, the pencil all seemed to fly in her hand. But that was Chinese. Who feels like they can write quicker and better in their own language instead of English? Does it take you more or less time to write in English?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
More time?
Yeah.
Why do you think that is, Eric?
Because I don't usually do a lot.
You speak.
Because you don't do it a lot, so you have to take your time, right? When I'm writing in Spanish, I have to take my time and remember all the little things that have to go over the letters and things that aren't in English. Right, so Mei Mei had that too.
How to spell the words.
Yeah, you have to think, oh man, how do I spell this? Or I have to look it up. Or I have to translate it. Takes more time, right, exactly. Mei Mei wouldn't speak in school. Most of the time she understood what her teacher said. But everything was in English, and Mei Mei wouldn't speak in English. So I'm curious, did anybody, when you first came here and you first started going to school, did you sit in class and not say anything?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah?
No.
Okay, how about this question? Did any of you understand the teacher, but you didn't want to speak? How does that make you feel, Moise? I like what you just said. You said, I could understand the teacher, but I couldn't talk. How did that make you feel?
Bad.
I try to feel like sad because us but they understand what they're saying. But me, I just think, you know, I was understanding, but I cannot answer the question. You know. When they ask me the question, that's where it comes from, I was saying what's the meaning, you know. I cannot say it.
And what is that called? Starts with a C. When people, no. When, yeah, you would have been shy, but it starts with a C, and it's all about, saying things to each other or getting your point across. Starts with a C. It's a long word. C. What? Communication. And Moise, that's what Moise was feeling, frustration because he couldn't communicate. He knew what the teacher was saying, but he couldn't communicate back. Right? And so May, why else might you not want to speak in class? You're shy. Why else? They're gonna laugh at you. Why will they laugh at you, Amani? Okay, because you don't know how to speak English, right? And if you're in a classroom with mostly American kids, I know I've never had this, but it's probably even worse because you're like, I don't want to say anything because they're going to make fun of me. They're going to think I'm dumb. I'm just going to sit here. I'm not going to say anything. One day, her cousin Bing took her to the Chinatown Learning Center. Students brought their homework for help, but not May. She wouldn't work in English. Tutors helped the older ones with their English. May helped the little ones with arithmetic. What's arithmetic?
I don't.
Do you know what that subject is? What's arithmetic? What's it? Yeah, mathematics. Mathematics. Arithmetic. It's another word for math. It's an old word. Like my grandparents would have said, I had arithmetic. When I just say, I had math. So, she was good at arithmetic. Numbers weren't English or Chinese. They were just numbers, right? Numbers are numbers are numbers, right? At least those were like, oh, okay, yeah, I understand those. May loved the center. She talked and listened and explained and argued. She did everything in Chinese. She helped the director set up the table. She played ping pong and checkers. She sang songs. She wrote letters to friends in Hong Kong. All in Chinese. Dear Yi Fong, she wrote in Chinese, how would you like me to visit you? She laughed as she finished the letter. Then she had to write the address in English. Silly post office in New York, she thought. Why can't they read in Chinese? So she wants to know why the post office can't read Chinese. The people in America in the post office, why can't they read Chinese? How many of you ever thought, like, you go to the store and you thought, ugh, why can't you understand what I'm saying? Why can't you? So if you speak Kinyarwanda or you speak Swahili or you speak Spanish, and you go to the store and you're thinking, oh, why can't this person just speak my language? It would make it so much easier if they would speak Swahili. It would make it so much easier if they would speak Spanish. How does that make you feel?
Like you.
Frustrated, right? Do you think they are frustrated? Like the person at the store that works at the store? Do you think they're frustrated?
No,
Why are they frustrated, Moise?
Chinese. I don't.
Yes, Amani?
If you are trying to say something and she doesn't understand it, so she's frustrated because you are not.
Right, exactly.
That's what I think.
May had a dream. She thought about it at least once a day, sometimes twice or 3 times. She told Bing about it in Chinese. all the gang, Bing and Mona and Shek and Leo and Ann, would go on a plane to Hong Kong. This is her dream. On the plane, everybody would speak what? Chinese.
Wow.
Instead, they went to Jones Beach. With the director, Mei Mei, and her friends rode on 3 trains and 1 bus. They brought lunch, bathing suits, towels, and empty pails. The trip took 2 hours, and they talked and joked the whole way in Chinese.
This your dream?
Leo and Bing buried themselves in the sand. Anna and Mona built a sandcastle on top of them. Shek, said Mei Mei, let's dig for shellfish. What are shellfish? Do you understand what that means? Shellfish?
To sell? To sell?
Shell. Fish.
No.
What's a shell?
Adapting the crab.
Yeah, it's like a covering, or right? So crabs and snails and clams, those are shellfish. Off they went with their pails to find the shellfish. You can't eat those, said the lifeguard. Mei Mei smiled and kept on digging. He probably doesn't even know how to cook them, Shek said in Chinese. She was right. The director made a fire in the picnic area and cooked the shellfish. Nobody said a word. Everybody was busy, very busy, eating. At least Mei Mei looked up and said, delicious, in Chinese. Now I'm going to stop right there. Has she spoken in English?
No.
No, every time it's in Chinese, in Chinese, in Chinese, right? Again, why is she speaking in Chinese?
Because she doesn't know how to speak English.
Because she, say that again?
She's not gonna speak English.
Because
She's not gonna speak
Care, she don't care.
she doesn't care. She doesn't want to speak English. Okay? Again, I'm going to ask you. We've heard a little, maybe about half the book. Why did the author write this book? Now that we've heard a little bit of this book. Yes, Regina.
Because if someone learns English, they just feel shy to learn English, but you need to learn English. That is why.
Okay, so Regina Fabrice said, okay, if somebody is shy and they don't want to learn English, maybe this book is helping them understand they have to learn English. They're going to have to do it. Okay. How many of you have felt like people didn't treat you very nice because you couldn't speak English?
Me,
So they treated you badly.
yeah.
They weren't nice to you because you couldn't speak English. Did any of you ever feel that way?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you think, here's a question for you. Do you think a high school with all white kids, and they're all Americans, do they understand what it's like to move to a new country
No.
and learn a language you've never spoken before?
Yeah.
So is that part of the reason that they get upset? Because they don't understand? So, again, what issue is the author trying to tell people about?
I don't get it.
What is the author trying to tell people, or to show people, or to teach people when he writes this book?
English is, when you learn English with all your effort, you can do it. You can
Okay? When you learn English, maybe things will get a little bit easier. Were you going to say something?
Learning English is
Just a minute. Wait. People are from different countries. Okay? Why else?
It's hard to learn English.
It's hard to learn English if you're from another country. Do you think it would be good for American students to like read a book like this?
See,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Why would it be good, Fabrice?
They can know how it feel like if we don't know English.
Yeah.
So they start treating us bad.
If you could go to a high school where there's all white American students, what would you want to say to them? Well, of course you'd want to say hi. But what would you want to say to them about your experience in America trying to speak English?
I will tell them my story.
You tell them your story?
Yeah.
Okay. What else? Yes, Rosanna.
Learning English is hard, so be careful whatever you're going to say.
Okay. Let's talk about quickly what are some similarities to your experiences? Yes, Vincent. Speaking, okay. What else did May struggle with that is similar to you?
Me.
Yeah, let's see.
When she was in the airplane, she didn't know what they said, so.
Okay. Okay. I've heard that before, that when you were flying over here and you didn't speak English and they asked you a question or they said something to you, you had no idea what they were saying, so you couldn't answer them.
In the airplane, when you come from Morocco, and then they give us some food, you know? And then, if you're asking for juice, they bring some milk. I swear, I'm not lying. Just do like this.
Okay.
You do like that. You just do like that because you don't know what to say. And then, you want the juice, and then they bring some water or milk.
But no juice.
No juice. They bring juice, but you was not saying. But sometimes they bring some milk or
Muhammad, what were you going to say?
yeah, what is
Hey. Yeah, I thought you had your hand up. No? Oh. What other similarities
Me.
in the story? Yes,
No
Regina.
answer in class, but say.
yes.
No answering in class?
I know answer, but when
Oh, good. I love that she said that. Like you were sitting in class and you knew the answer,
And then
but you couldn't say it because you didn't know how to speak English.
right now.
Sometimes you can't because they are
Because they're what?
are you listening?
They're looking at you?
Yeah.
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 If. Now in here,
Thank you, Muhammad.
Yvette is just going to keep doing it back there. Sometimes, now in here, you guys feel comfortable speaking English because I'm the only one that speaks it natively. That means it's my first language. But next year, most of you will not have an ESL class anymore. Listen, here's what that means. In some of your classes, you might be the only ESL student in the whole class. Everybody else might be American. No, I'm saying not English, not an ESL student. You might be the only one. And so you're going to have to get used to speaking in class where nobody else has the struggles that you have had or that you still have. Yes,
But it's kind of good because you don't have to speak in your own language, you just speak English.
exactly. It forces you to speak English, right? Oh, no, nobody else in here speaks my language. Because everybody in here has someone else that speaks their language. That makes it comfortable for you. So in next year, you may have no people in your class that speak your language. You're gonna have to speak English. to them.
Why?
Yeah, it's good.
Think it's good?
No, it's not good. It's what-
You just said it's good. Now you say it's no good.
Sometimes.
Make up your mind.
No, sometimes it's good.
Oh, sometimes it's good. Okay. All right. You have about 5 minutes to finish this.
Finish.
Okay? Write some things that were similar to her experience, or how her experience was similar to yours. Okay? You have about 5 minutes to finish that. What? You leave in 7 minutes.
Regina.
Oh, she stopped it a long time